Good morning, everybody. This is Haley and Mr. Steve with Lancaster County 4-H.
And we're here today on an exciting day because if you've been keeping track, you know that this afternoon is day 18. And how many days does it take for quail to incubate and hatch? 18. So we have hit the day that we expect to see the chicks beginning to pip the shell and make their way out. So in a few minutes, we're going to take a look inside the incubator. Hopefully we see something. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, we had a couple of questions last week that we did not get to that we want to make sure we get those answered. So Haley, what's our first question?
Our first question comes from Thomas in Lancaster, and Thomas wants to know, when we first started looking at the pictures, the eye was yellow, but now it's turning black. Why is that?
Okay, all right, well at the very beginning, the eye was yellow, and actually a lot of the embryo appeared to be yellow, if you think about it and go back and look. But the yellow color actually comes from the yolk of the egg. The embryo in the very early stages is what I would call translucent. Now that's a word that basically means it's clear. You can see into it. If you remember, we could actually see the heart that was inside the embryo. We can't see that now, and the reason being is because pigmentation has started. Around day 7 or 8, that's usually when pigments start coming into the embryo and start developing, and those pigments define what the chick will look like. It could be from the color of the skin, it could be the color of their feathers, and the color of their eyes. So early on, no pigmentation. Around day 7 or 8, we start to see pigmentation, and that's when we see the color change. All right, what's the second question?
Okay, our second question comes from Noel in Indian Land. And Noel wants to know, how and why does the embryo change so quickly?
Ooh, how and why does the embryo change so quickly? Now, Haley, you're in college, and I guarantee you there are college classes that spend a whole year answering that question. This is not an easy question to answer. Let's see if we can answer that and still kind of stay on a second grade range here. Now, you may not have studied this yet, but we're all made up of something that's called cells. Cells are like the building blocks that make us who we are, and there are millions and millions of cells within each of us, as well as the chicks that are growing inside of the egg. Now, when it starts developing, we start from a single cell. So if you have one cell, how in the world do we get to 1 million or more that it takes to make us who we are? And the way it does it is cells divide. Now, if we have one cell and we divide it, we take it in half, how many do we have at that point?
2.
Okay, so one cell becomes 2 cells. All right, so think of this as all happening as soon as we start incubation, as soon as the embryo starts developing. So 1 becomes 2, and then 2 becomes
4.
4. I thought I might trip you up. Some people will say 3, but 2 become 4 because each one of the cells splits. So you go from 1 to 2, 2 to 4. You go from 4 to 8, 8 to 16, to 32, to 64, to 128. You get the idea. Things start developing fast. Well, when it takes millions to make us who we are, really going from 1 to 128, it's not that big of a difference. And that's why early on the changes we see are really, really small. But as you develop further, you start getting day 4, 5, 6. Well, the number of cells has grown so much that the division of them produces so many more each time, and you see this rapid growth. So when you think about how fast it's able to go, it's because of that cell division. The difference between 1 and 2 is not that much, but the difference between, say, 512 to 1,024 in just one step, all of a sudden you got this huge number coming in, and it only gets bigger as you go. So that is a very simplistic view of how the rapid growth goes, but that's how it happens. And it's all cell division and the way it goes. Now, was there a second part to that question I haven't answered, or did that answer it?
I think you answered it because it said how and why.
How and why. And the why being the fact that, well, it's got a lot to do in 18 days, so it has to be able to rapidly grow to get there. But in a few years, when you get into maybe middle school, certainly high school and college, you'll start to learn a lot more about how that question is truly answered. But I think if you think about the cell division analogy that I just gave, hopefully that lets you know what's going on. So if you have any further questions on that, let us know and we'll see if we can get that answered. But I think it's it. All right, is that it?
That is all the questions that we have for today.
So what do you think? You want to go take a look inside the incubator?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, we're going to go take a look inside the incubator. We'll see you in just a second.
Look inside of the incubator. And what do we have there but an egg that is cracked? And if we look over here to the side, there it is, our first quail. I think it will be the first of many. I hate we didn't get to see a hatch, but we're going to see if we can't get a few on video before this is over. Exciting.
How exciting was that?
That is great. I'll tell you what, I never get tired of seeing that first quail hatch and the excitement, and hopefully you're as excited as we are. Over the next few hours, the next day, we expect to see more and more shells pipped as the embryos are chipping their way out of the egg using that egg tooth. And hopefully in the morning when we see you, we'll have an incubator full of chicks. Throughout the day today, we're going to see if we can't get video of quail hatching and actually get them coming out. So fingers crossed that we'll be able to do that. But until then, I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Thank y'all for joining us.